Welcome to the Marketing Revolution Podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand that everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started. Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with the Marketing Revolution Podcast and the Marketing Savage Facebook group. I hope all of you guys are having an amazing day today. And I am actually recording this. Let me look at the time there. It's 8:03, and it is Wednesday morning. I'm actually going to record this and then upload it, which is... perfectly okay. Normally, I like to record the day before, so that way everything's scheduled. A lot of times I'll upload this podcast, and it will literally be at 5 a.m. So some of you guys may notice in the last couple of days that I've been uploading them more along the lines of around 8:30, something like that. But just kind of letting you guys know, because I'm traveling, man, and I just want to document this experience. We had an incredible night last night. An incredible day yesterday in general, just at the mastermind. I'm actually going to have a lot of really cool stuff to talk about on Savage Sunday this week, because Ryan Stewman actually had Pastor Keith, which is a local pastor here in the Dallas area. We're actually over in the Addison area, which is really close to downtown Dallas. But it's kind of cool because they actually have a pastor that really talks a lot about business. And he was a multimillionaire, owned like 13 businesses before he even became a pastor, which was pretty cool. And we went into some super deep details that I'm definitely going to be talking about. I actually got notes over here, so I write down notes everywhere I go, man. Like if I write it down, I'll remember it. And I actually have a physical notepad, so a lot of people will write notes on their phone and stuff like that, and I do that as well. But when I'm at an event, something about writing it on a physical notepad, so I can actually go back on my notebook and just trace all my last events. I can actually go back and look at some of my really high-end personal one-on-one coaching with people that have, my last really high-end one-on-one coaching that I had, where I flew in Eric from... he wasn't in Alaska. He used to live in Alaska, but I think he was in the somewhere over there on the West Coast. Washington. Yeah, Washington. Okay, so yeah, he was over in Washington. The wifey's over here getting ready in the restroom. But I got notes from that. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is, you can actually look back and kind of, I can see that I executed on almost everything that I've taken notes from, even to the point to where the last mastermind event, we had Steve Kuko in, who is like one of the world's best bodybuilders. And he's like top 3 or something like that in the world for bodybuilding. And I took so many notes on just like the physical aspect of things. And now I'm doing 75 hard. So anyhow, great stuff. But what I want to talk about, we ended up going to dinner last night, and Aaron Wagner was in town. Some of you guys might or might not know Aaron Wagner. If you guys haven't checked him out, follow him. He has Wagner Capital, which a lot of people invest with him. Inside of our group, I would say there's probably been along the lines of 5 to 10 people that have invested in a franchise that he created called Everbowl. The dude is a absolute boss. He actually spoke at the Lions Den event that I went to. Some of you guys might have heard it on the Tactical podcast, but that I went earlier this year. So I went out to dinner with them. It was kind of like an investor type dinner thing, but we all had like breakout tables, and just an amazing group of people to be around. It's so fucking awesome to be around that level of entrepreneurs that like everybody in that room is just taking everything to the next level. And it's my people, man. It's my people. You guys are my people. If you're listening to this podcast and you're learning and you're growing, then you're part of what I'm about. So just want to talk about, like, sometimes, like, I feel that a lot of people come into a lot of situations, like being at this mastermind, it made me realize that, you know, how you are to approach like a group, like a mastermind group like this, especially if you're among people that are just doing fucking amazing things. And if I could give you guys one piece of advice, not only on how to approach, like, if you ever get involved in like a group like this, but to just approach life in general, is, and essentially like when you're hanging around people that are going places and taking shit to the next level, when you're around your people, right? You want to focus on how much value you can bring to the room. You don't want to focus on how much value you can take away. So many times, people that are doing big shit, we will encounter people that just want to take from us. And there's so many little defense mechanisms that will come up within that. Or let's just say there's red flags that will come up. And they'll take it unapologetically. But that's just not ever the way to approach anything. Like, I'll give you guys an example, and this is by no means my discounting like the individual that did this with me specifically, but I'm going to give people some advice when it comes to working with people that are like really doing some shit, taking things to the next level. And we're busy, like really fucking busy all the time. Don't approach things on like what I can take from this person, right? Approach things like by what value can you add to their life. And I'll give you an example. Like, I will never approach somebody, like I'll never, even inside of this mastermind group, I'll never randomly hit them up to pick their brain. The way I approach things and the way that I believe things should be approached is, if I want to get to know somebody and if I want to feel like we would have great synergy, meaning that together we would create massive amounts of good energy that we could give to the world, I am going to approach that situation on like, what can I do for them? Like what kind of value? I'm going to look at their business. I'm going to try to understand it. I'm going to try to look at their life, look at what they're doing, and see what value I can add to them. When in a day and age where everybody's got access to your messenger inbox and all this kind of shit, there's a lot of things that are, quite frankly, they're kind of offensive to people that are really busy and really doing things. And essentially, that's when somebody just hits you up and wants to take from you without giving first. Now, on the other hand, if you become an individual who gives, like if you have somebody that you want to connect with, then start giving to that person. And don't give with like this whole agenda that you want to get something in return. I mean, if you legitimately have a connection with the individual, start sharing their stuff. Start connecting them with your people. Instead of seeking to just see what you can get out of any situation in life, approach it with like, what can you give to people? What can you give to the world? What value can you add to the world? Because the other approach, I can fucking assure you, is not going to work. I can assure you is not going to work. And it shouldn't work. You shouldn't seek to take. And I've talked about this before, you know what I mean? It's like the equivalent. Like, we had a guy back in the day that I grew up with, and we always laughed because, like, he could never land a girl. We would be out on the town, whatever, younger, talking to girls and stuff like that. Well, there was this one guy, and he just, we always said, like, he had no fucking game. Like, no fucking game. I mean, there's, like no girls that, during that time, and later on, like, he kind of figured it out, I guess. And he was a really good guy, but he had no game. So he finally got to the point to where he just gave up. He said every girl that he's going to walk up to and talk to, he's just going to ask them if they want to fuck. And in hopes that one day, he would run into the right girl that would say, yeah, let's go do it. And I'm sure maybe he found that, but I'm sure he got probably denied like 1,000 times before that ever happened. To take it one step further, to add value to the world, what do you got to do? What do you got to do? You got to start focusing on this. You got to start focusing. If you guys are watching the video, I'm pointing to my head right now. You guys on the podcast, you guys got to focus on you. okay? You got to become the best, most elite version of you. A lot of people take their focus and send it out into the world on like manipulation techniques on other people and all this kind of stuff, and manipulation, market positioning, and things like that. Well, the showman will soon be figured out. The showman gets figured out at some point. At some point, people realize that this person really doesn't add any value. They're just more of an actor or something like that. But the person who builds their temple, builds their mind, whether that's their mind, their body, their soul, and builds that, will automatically be an individual of value that can bring massive amounts of value to anybody that they come in contact with. And it's the same recommendation I give anybody. The problem is never outside of yourself. The solution to the problem it always has to do with you. Like, I don't give a shit if you're in a marriage that's failing. By focusing on changing that other person or putting the problem outside of yourself, you disempower yourself to actually change it. So the bottom line is, the best thing that you can do is turn focus in on yourself and become the best, most fucking elite version of yourself. Allow that to radiate in and through you, and the best will come your way. Okay? So anyhow, that's it, guys. I just want to, drop a little line on that. Like, don't seek to take from the world. Seek to add value to it. And by doing that, you're listening to this podcast right now, so it's obvious that you are somebody who is on pursuit of a better you. And stay on that pursuit. Spend a lot of time on it. It's the most important thing that you'll ever do. I mean, we talked, I'm sitting here in a room yesterday with a collective group of people that probably, it may be in the billions, that revenue in that group. And talking to all of them, and the one thing that was the common theme that came up was that we don't do it because of the money. We do it because of the character that it builds inside of ourselves. It's never about the pot of gold at the end of the trail. It's about the trail. It's about becoming the person that was able to create that and manifest that in their life. So it's not about getting the money. I mean, if you get the money and you still haven't developed, then you can easily lose it. You're not going to be able to recreate it. You're not going to have the power within to bring value in other situations. It's a very vulnerable place to be. It's like winning the lottery. When people win the lottery, look how fucking vulnerable they are. They didn't do anything to create it, so when they lose it, they don't know how to make it. They'd have to go fucking win the lottery again. And what's the chances of that, winning it twice? It's the character that you build in this journey, guys. Because sometimes people, they look at the journey and they at one point they don't think it's worth it. And I guarantee you that's when they're focusing on just that pot of gold up there. Because that pot of gold doesn't mean shit. The only thing that it means is a catalyst to get you what you want. So, and you're chasing the goal. You're keeping your eye on the prize. You're chasing the goal, but the prize is not the money. The prize is whatever dream life or whatever thing that you're building, whatever vision, whatever light that you see. I'll give you guys a quick preview of Pastor Keith. I'm going to talk about on Savage Sunday, but when God created the earth, he said, "Let there be light." Well, what happens when you're in a dark room and the light comes on? Now you have vision. You can see. That's the beginning. That's the very first thing that God did to create the world. He said, "Let there be light," so he could create a vision of what this is to be. So anyhow, y'all, appreciate you. As usual, I'm going to see you on the next one.